So you've created content for a fantastic online course that you want to put out into the world. But there's one problem. How are you going to plan and record the content in a way that is not only going to educate your audience, but that's going to present the information in a way that's easy to understand and, more importantly, easy to implement? So the key is to plan out your online course content and the online course recording process in a way that allows you to stay focused and quickly deliver the online course through your recording and not get stuck in the details. Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. I'm your host, Jennie Lyon, and today I wanted to dig in to how you can unlock the mystery behind planning your online course content and the recording process so that you'll be set up for success from the get-go. Let's jump on in. So the first thing you really need to do is identify your major takeaways. So what do you want your students to take away after your course? What should they be able to accomplish after completing your course? Once you determine that, you can really start there and work backwards to discover all the different modules and lessons that you'll need to design in order to get your students to that point at the end of the course. So you really want to focus in and nail down those very specific pain points that your students will be entering your course expecting to solve. And you really want to make sure that you serve that need by the time that they've completed all of the modules. And by knowing why your students are deciding to purchase your course, you're already halfway through teaching them how to solve that problem. And how your students feel at the end of their time working with you through your courses will disproportionately determine whether they think that your courses have empowered them with relevant, useful knowledge and will want to work with you again and again, especially in paid capacities. So we're thinking group coaching, one-on-one coaching, paid masterminds, whatever that is. And one of the best ways to help them feel really good about your course is to target and address those common reasons that your students would want to sign up for that online course in the first place. And while it might seem like I'm asking you to really read the minds of your students, I mean, how could you possibly know what they're thinking your courses are going to complete for them, right? And by asking them, you can really garner a lot of information. So when I mean ask them, one thing I always do is go back to previous clients, or if I'm building a course for a client, ask them, what clients have you worked with before? Can we reach out to them? And one thing that we'll do is by not only doing the market research, but really tap into those existing and previous clients by asking them to fill out a questionnaire or a survey. So you want to make sure that you're including a lot of really great questions in that survey so you can pull out a lot of things that you may have missed when you're setting up and planning your online course. So it could be questions like, what do they hope to achieve by the end of a course like yours? Or how much time would they be willing to devote to taking a course? What type of content would they like to consume? Are they more interested in online courses that have video components, workbooks? Are there particular pieces that are really going to intrigue them? What price point might they expect to pay? And how will they measure success? And what would make them feel absolutely thrilled at the end of the course? The idea here is really to ask a lot of really great questions that can help guide you through the type of content that you want to make sure that you're including in your online course. And if you're struggling a little bit with how to plan out something like an online course or a product launch, something like that, I actually have some really great workbooks that I'll link to in the show notes, but you can always jump over to jennielyon.com/freebies to grab them. Okay, so once you have all of your content planned out, then it really is important to elevate your course content with video. We live in such a visual world, and so much of our content is really naturally delivered to us through bite-sized pieces of video. You see this everywhere on the internet. So you really want to present your course with video. I personally do prefer bite-sized chunks within each module because I've seen that when people record like a video that's like an hour long, people seem to not get through it, at least not in one sitting. It seems like there's so much to implement within that hour that people end up breaking it up anyways, or they end up stalling. So anytime I'm building an online course, I really like to map out the modules and the lessons and then make sure the videos are bite-sized, like less than 10 minutes at a time, because I feel like students move through the course material in a quicker fashion, but I feel like they also grasp the information and they're able to implement it in a quicker time frame. And video recording of your content, that's really the quickest way that your audience is going to build that trust with you as well. So even if you're doing like a free online course or a mini course or something like that, the video component is so important because it really builds that relationship between you and your audience. And it helps speed up that get them getting to know you, like you, and trust you. And of course, it comes across more professionally as well. And anything that you can write, you really can present in a much better way with video. And a lot of people learn really well through video or through audio or, visual in some way, much more, I would say, than just reading text. So by incorporating the video into your course, even with captions, then you're suddenly serving all types of learning. So if you load your content, you've recorded it with video, you've covered your visuals, you've recorded it with the audio, you can pull the audio out, rip that out, and then you do have that audio. And then also with the text, with the captions. So you're kind of covering all your bases there. And you can really make a profound, immediate connection with your audience versus video. And it's a lot easier to connect with them through the video than through text alone. And you do have a lot more control over the tone and your, the emotions that you convey and the quality of your message when you deliver it through video than when you deliver it through text alone. And that really does earn you immediate trust, again, with your audience. That's really going to translate in not only to more purchases, but it's going to equal people continuing to work with you and stepping up through your ladder of different types of services or programs, whatever it is that you have to offer. So a lot of times we'll see people moving from purchasing an online course to then purchasing group coaching or one-on-one coaching or some sort of mastermind and continuing to step up that ladder with you. Next step is to really consider your source locations, who's going to help you produce everything, and the equipment that you need. So depending on your online course and what it's all about, you may or may not need a more elaborate setup. And so that really depends, but presentation is really everything. And it's important that the backdrop really does reflect a level of professionalism that's going to underscore the wealth of knowledge that you have. So even if you're recording like I am here in my office space, you want to make sure that you have a really great camera, really great microphone, a microphone with a pop filter and a ring light and some other sort of lighting to really enhance the overall experience. And lighting is really paramount when it comes to shooting any great video. Poor lighting can easily just tank a video and it can just makes it look not professional at all. So I've also included some links that show you different ways to set up the proper lighting that you need, and check it out. I think it will be really helpful to you. Next step is to practice. So the beauty of shooting video is that you can always do another take. So just make sure that you're setting, ample time aside to go over your thoughts and your notes and make sure that you have a script that you're running off of. And, the more that you're able to be off book when you present your information on camera, the more that it comes across as genuine, knowledgeable, authentic. but we never want anyone to think we're reading a script either, right? So there's that fine balance there. And that's why practicing is really helpful. I always suggest that, a few days before the shoot, you really schedule some time to practice speaking to the camera. And the more relaxed and prepared that you will be when it comes actual time to record the modules, then the fewer takes that you'll have to do and the less stressful that the overall shoot day will be. So you might want to have someone that you trust go over your notes and maybe, do some practicing with you. And of course, I always recommend, trying to shoot your content all at once if possible, right? You get yourself in that frame of mind, you pump yourself up, you've made yourself look amazing. You have the same clothes on, that same overall look and feel. It really keeps it consistent if you're able to record it all in maybe one full day. Next step is to really consider hiring a professional to edit everything. So once you've done that hard work of recording all of your footage, you really should have someone edit it so that it comes in a really nice polished package. So if that's not something that you're already skilled at, I wouldn't suggest adding that to your list of things to learn how to do. I would hand the footage off to a professional, and that way you can just relax. Then you have capable hands on your footage that will turn it into a really quality presentation that you'll be really proud of. And if you want to, reach out and ask any types of questions that you have about the recording process, please do. I'm actually in the middle of doing this for a client right now where I'm planning out all of their content to be recorded in the next few weeks for a launch that we have coming up. So if you have questions, please reach out. And if you need help with any of the editing process, then our team can help you with that as well. All right, so here's my challenge for you this week. If you've been thinking of launching an online course, but you found yourself kind of stuck in either the planning or the recording phase, let's take a few minutes to get you moving forward. So go ahead and sit down, grab a piece of paper and a pen, and let's kind of start to map things out. So number one, you'll want to define the outcomes and results that you want your audience to achieve. What do you want your students to be able to do after they've completed your course? What do you want them to understand so that when they sign up for the course, they're going to know what the objective is? Number two, determine how you'll know that your audience has achieved those goals or that promise that you've promised them. How are you going to ensure that by the end of the course, you've fulfilled your promise and that they've actually learned something that they can implement and use in their everyday life? Then number three is to plan the learning experience to ensure that your students really do experience small wins throughout your online course. Map out what they're going to learn. What can you include to keep them motivated and engaged and moving forward? And which activities will lead to their desired results? If you can build in mini wins throughout your online course, then it is going to be amazing. I'm telling you, if a client can do module 1 and they have some sort of great result at the end of that they can see immediately, it just pushes them through so much quicker, and then it gets them to the end of the course where they really feel like they have achieved something and they're just excited to work with you in a bigger and bigger capacity. Next step is you want to start mapping out the course if you haven't already. So that's things like, who is this course for? Who is that ideal client avatar? And if you're still struggling with that, please jump over to the website at jennielyon.com/ICA, download the worksheet, and work through your ideal client avatar. It will change everything. Number two, what are their problems and their challenges? What do they need to be able to do? And how will your course help them do it? Number three, how can you guide them from where they are today to where they want to be? That should really be the whole mapping of your online course. Number four, what's the objective? This is where you really do need to map out what they will learn. And then after this online course, they should be able to do X, Y, and Z. So you really want to map out what those desired actions that you want your students to take are to solve that problem. Number 5 is to map out all the information. So you want to write down the specific content that they will need in order to achieve each of the objectives. Number 6 is to start recording. Start recording your content. Make a list of all the content that you're going to need to record. What videos will you need to create to ensure that your students will achieve all of those stated objectives? And then number 7, remember to ask yourself, how will I know that my students have achieved by the end of the course? You really do want some way to gather testimonials or feedback. That way you can always go back and tweak the online course so that when you launch it again in the future, it'll just get better and better and better. And last but not least, map out all the collateral that you're going to need. So with an online course, of course, you have like your text and you have your video components, but there's usually other types of collateral that will go along with it. That's things like handouts, printables, assignments, quizzes, worksheets, whatever that is. You want to map out what collateral your students will need that's going to help them move through the information, get their wins, and also keep them accountable. And of course, if you need help with any of the planning, designing, writing, scripts, recording, marketing, executing your online course, again, please reach out. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have. You can do so at jennielyon.com/chat. So what did we learn today? Well, your online course should really teach people how to solve a specific challenge. Your online course should have a combination of text, video, and other types of collateral that are really going to help convey your message and make sure that your students are receiving the information that they need to reach those desired results that you promised them when they signed up for the online course. Then you want to plan out the online course, every single piece of it. That way everything comes together very smoothly. And when it comes to recording, make sure you plan that stuff out in advance. Don't just do it on the fly. Plan out your locations, your equipment, your scripts, who's going to help you record. And if you can, record it all in one day. And of course, practice. Practice prior to your shoot is really going to not only maximize the efficiency of the shoot itself, but the practice will really make you feel more confident on shoot day. And of course, you can ask for help if you need help with any part of the process, reach out. But when it comes to editing, unless you are an editor, I would definitely recommend hiring a professional to edit your content for you. And last but not least, market it. Market. Once you have that online course ready, make sure that it gets in front of your ideal client as soon as possible. All right, well, that's what I have for you this week. I hope you found these tips on planning your online course content and planning your recording process helpful. And of course, again, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm always happy to help. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. See you soon.